Is the party over for Orange County sellers? Well, I got news for you. This is Dean Odell with Seven Gables Real Estate and the Odell Group. Today is May 1st, and we're going to look at a bunch of data and some charts here. It shouldn't take too long, but it's going to help educate you, and you're going to hear what you need to hear from us, not what you want to hear, what you need to hear. So let's get started. Look at what we got going on here. Now, I did say, is the party over for sellers? Well, in some respects, yes. In other respects, no. But here's the thing. There's certainly more competition going on. And this is good news for you guys, buyers, because you've been waiting for selection. And so here it finally is. So let's look at where we are today. We have 4,186 homes. You can still see that that is almost 2,000 homes below the norm pre-COVID, right? So we're still not back to those levels, but we are up from 2 weeks ago, which is normal. This is the time of year. Look at the incline on all those graphs, except for, the purple one and the blue one, which was 2024, 2023, where things were a little bit more flat. But that red line that we're on right now is pretty much kind of a normal incline for this time of year. You could see we're way up from last year at 2,320, and we are still down, as I said, from the 3-year average. Okay, so now looking at this demand chart, look where we are today, 1,546 homes that have gone into escrow in the last 30 days. That is actually down from 2 weeks ago and quite a bit down from last year. Now, if we have demand going down and then supply going up, do you think that's a better recipe for the sellers or for the buyers? Well, I know you guys are probably smart enough to figure out that's better for the buyers than it is for the sellers. But let's look at where we were 3 years ago. 2,780 homes were in demand. But remember, we had 2,000 more homes in inventory to choose from as well. So when you look at the dynamic going on here, what's happening is it's starting to balance out the market between supply and demand. Let's see how that's affecting marketing time on the next slide. So when we look at the Orange County expected marketing time year over year, look where we are today. We're up to 81 days. 2 weeks ago, we were at 74. So now it's gone up another week. Last year, it was almost at half at 41 days. And what was it pre-COVID? At 65 days. So we're actually in a slower market, a slower moving market than we were pre-COVID. So this is the slowest market that we've seen in the last 6, 7 years. And when you look at where 81 days falls on that chart, it's still in the slight seller's market range. But if it continues to keep going like it's going, we're going to hit a balanced market overall in Orange County. And then we'll have to see where things go from there. But what's really most important is to look at how does this break down by price range. So when we look at the price range and the marketing time, you can still apply that same chart that's up in the top left to see where you fall. And what you'll see is that there is a slight buyer's market starting at about $2 million, and everything else is balanced or in the seller's favor above that. It does not get to a deep buyer's market till after the 2.5 million range. So you can freeze this and see how this compares with last year. And I'm going to move on to the next slide. This is just to demonstrate what is going on in all the counties that they're tracking right now, okay? So the reports on housing tracks these counties. And when you go to Orange County, right in the middle there of the chart, you can see that our inventory this year versus last year is up 80%. That's quite a bit to be up 80%. And we talked about the supply against that. So things are definitely moving towards the buyer. The pendulum is swinging. Look at that expected marketing time. It's gone from 41 days to 81 days. And you can see how we compare with other counties. So if you want to take a look at this chart a little bit longer, go ahead and pause that. I'm going to move on to my advice for buyers and sellers. Okay, so what do you think? We're out there every day pounding the ground trying to sell these houses, guys. We know what is happening out there. And we can tell you that the buyers are definitely being more cautious in this environment than they were before. And the sellers, some of them anyway, still want to stay on that same track that we've been on for the last couple of years. And we're seeing a lot of overpricing going on. Now, That's kind of normal this time of year. People think, okay, I'll overprice my house or price it ahead of the market and see who's out there. And that's fine, because guess what? Sometimes, you know what? We're wrong and you're right, okay? But we have to look at the comps and say, are we within a range that's close enough? And is this market starting to level out where we really shouldn't be pricing ahead of that last comp? Or is there something so unique and special about this house? In other words, is it just completely turnkey? Has there really even been a comp that's like it, where somebody's put so much money into it and so much time, effort? Like, that has a value too, right? If the buyer doesn't have to go through and do all these things and make all these decisions. And let's look at remodeling costs these days. Are they going up? Or are they going down? Well, with the tariffs, you can pretty much guess that they're probably going to go up. Things are going to get more expensive. It's going to be harder to remodel and more costly to remodel. So the buyers are being very cautious on what they're paying for things. So as a seller, you have to say to yourself, okay, well, do I really want to sell? And in what time frame do I want to sell? And what is my agent advising me? Because if I'm pricing this ahead of the market or pricing it optimistically because I want to see who's out there, how long is it going to take me to decide whether or not, it's a good time to go ahead and reduce if that's needed? And I could tell you, for most houses, it doesn't take much longer than 30 days, because you'll see your showings drop off pretty rapidly. And the lower price ranges, honestly, it probably doesn't take more than 3 weeks. And if you remember from last week's show, or the show before this one, I should say, we showed you that still 80% of the homes are selling in a 21-day period. It's really the other 20% of the market is taking longer to sell than that. And a lot of them are having to go through price reductions for that to happen. But I'll tell you what, buyers, when a good home comes on the market and it's priced right, I promise you, you're not the only one out there. There are lots of buyers still out there willing to buy, but everybody wants to know they're getting a fair price. So buyers and sellers, it's our job to put you guys together, and it's not that hard to do if you just follow our advice. So anyway, we will see you on the next Tustin Talks. If there's anything we can do to help you prior to then, let us know. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.